Deep in the wilderness of Washington state sits the most isolated, remote volcano in the Cascade mountain range. Unlike its higher and more recognized counterparts, such as Mount Rainier and Mount Hood, that emerge from smaller hills and plains, Glacier Peak rises from within a rugged, mountainous surrounding. This, combined with legislative action taken in the 1960s designating the Glacier Peak area as a wilderness, make the mountain the most hidden and difficult to reach of the Cascade volcanoes. No road reaches within 15 miles of the summit. The vast majority of hikers will ascend the south side from White Pass, which follows a well-maintained trail most of the way, followed by open terrain traverses and a climber's trail that leads up to the Cool Glacier and then up to the summit. Summiting Glacier Peak is minimally technical, with minor glacier travel. The journey is more so defined by long trails and vertical ascent required to reach the summit of this isolated peak. We began from the North Fork Sauk Trailhead, which is accessed from a forest road branching off of the Mountain Loop Highway. The first 6 to 7 miles follow the North Fork Sauk River along a flat, well-defined trail. This goes through an old-growth cedar forest, leading to the site of the old Mackinac shelter, which has since collapsed within the last 5 or 6 years. From here, switchbacks will ascend up the mountainside to the north. Fill up on water prior to these switchbacks, as they can have minimal water sources in the later season. At the top of the switchbacks, the trail makes a rising traverse east to meet up with the Pacific Crest Trail, following it for about a mile to reach White Pass. From here, the trail will diverge again, continuing east to reach a ridge coming down on the east side of Marmot Knob. Past this, a steep trail leads down and across north to a saddle that accesses the flatter glacial basin leading up to the first of the main camp areas. While this can be done in 2 days, breaking the trip into 3 makes the ascent a much more enjoyable experience. For the 3-day itinerary, we camped just south of the White Chuck Glacier, with the plan to camp there both nights. The next day, as the sun rose and the whiteout burned away, we continued north along mostly flat, rising terrain to reach Glacier Gap. For a 2-day ascent, this would be a more optimal place to camp. From Glacier Gap, we follow a ridge just west of the Seattle Glacier, eventually making a rising traverse near the top of the glacier. This traverse leads to a saddle entering onto the Cool Glacier. Important to note, the glacier moves across a rocky ridge here and has several crevasses near and along the route. We ascended the mountain in warm conditions, making snow bridges prone to instability, so we roped up along this section. The route then ascends west up the Cool Glacier, which also has a few crevasses that the route transects. Most of these are snow-covered until the late season, but there was one that opened up between the time that we passed it to head to the summit and the time we returned on the descent. At the top of the Cool Glacier, the route reaches a saddle with Disappointment Peak and heads north up somewhat steep terrain directly towards the summit. Being such a prominent mountain in the heart of the Washington Cascades, the views from Glacier Peak are great. The North Cascades, Mount Baker to the north, Mount Rainier, Mount Stewart, the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, and the Enchantments to the south, and the Entiat Range with Mount Furneaux, Mount Maud, and Seven-Fingered Jack to the east are all easily visible on clear days. The way down retraces the ascent. For the second day, we return to the same camp for the night, leaving from that camp back to the trailhead the next day. Overall, Glacier Peak is a long, strenuous hike that involves travel through multiple remote ecosystems. Whiteouts in this part of the Cascades are very common, and good navigation skills are important, but the views and isolation make it a worthwhile objective for those ready for the challenge. Overall, Glacier Peak is a great beginner glacier climb, best suited for mid to late July through September in most years. It makes for a great ski objective in the early season. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed the video or found it useful, be sure to subscribe.